As bipartisan criminal justice reform efforts gain steam across the country, most of them focused on the incarcerated, crime victims and their advocates fear their voices are being drowned out. And you might be surprised by what many of them have to say about justice for all. How many of you remember the name of the person or persons you killed?
Inside the Louisiana State Penitentiary, convicted murderers are learning to own their crimes.
Who'd you kill?
Cornell Preston.
Jeffrey Owens.
But while these prisoners are talking about victims from the inside, victims' rights advocates fear they are not being talked about enough on the outside.
Do you think that victims have enough of a voice right now in this big conversation we're having about criminal justice reform?
I don't right now, and I think that's because for a very long time they were viewed as adversaries, not allies to reformers. When in reality, what most of our research is telling us is that we really should be allies.
One survey found that crime victims by a 2-to-1 margin prefer the criminal justice system focus more on rehabilitation than punishment. And most prefer shorter prison sentences along with more spending on rehabilitation.
Most people will acknowledge that the way they are going to feel safe again is through rehabilitation of their offender.
I will always think of myself as a victim.
Susan Ingram also supports rehabilitation. In 2015, she was sexually assaulted by her massage therapist, who pleaded guilty to assaulting Ingram and 8 other women. Ingram spoke at his sentencing.
And I said to him, if God offers you a path of redemption, I hope you take it.
Ingram fears victims have not been given a seat at the table in discussions over prison reforms.
If it really is intentional that we want to do what's right and just for prisoners and for victims, there will be open minds.
Ingram reminds that life sentences are not just a burden for the incarcerated, but for many victims, too.
Do you think we talk enough about the lasting impact of becoming a victim?
I don't think that anybody, unless you've been a victim, can understand that.
Important voices in a national conversation that we will continue tonight on Dateline when I take you on my 3-day journey inside America's largest maximum security prison. That's at 10, 9 Central here on NBC. Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.